Hi everyone! For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cleo Hoey. I'm a junior at Immaculata University and I am a double major in elementary education and communications. Today I am going to be talking about mindfulness and exercise because this is a topic that is gaining a lot of light right now. Mental health is very popular right now in the media. I am very interested in mental health as a field, and I'm also interested in maintaining my own mental health and learning about it. And I believe that it's very important for us as a society to be thinking that way, especially right now, while the world is rather inconsistent and unpredictable. It's just important for us to be aware of who we are, how we think, and what makes us us as individuals. So I think it's important to, first of all, define mindfulness because there are a lot of different phrases and words that we associate with this term. So according to mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present. So this means being aware of who you are, where you are, and what's going on inside you and around you here in this moment. A lot of times we get sucked into trauma from the past, or we get pulled into anxiety about the future. And the whole point of mindfulness is to help us stay rooted here in the present so that we can enjoy living fully on a day-to-day basis. Incorporating mindfulness into your everyday life should bring you peace and contentment. So a lot of people say, well, who is mindfulness for? And the answer to that question is it's for everybody. Research has shown that when people are mindful, they reduce their own stress, they enhance their own performance, they gain insight and awareness through observing their own minds, and they actually increase their attention to others' well-being, which is pretty cool. If you want to think about it within the lens of education, mindfulness practices have actually been proven to help children and adults reduce ADHD symptoms, which in turn helps them to succeed in school, at work, and at home. So I wanted to include this graphic because I think it's really well done and it gives you a pretty accurate visualization of what mindfulness can mean. It's important, again, to acknowledge that the practice of mindfulness can look different for each individual person. So this by no means is saying that everybody looks at mindfulness this way. So just keep that in mind. In this scenario, though, the figure on the left has a full mind. They are overwhelmed by their thoughts, their emotions, maybe their fears, and their responsibilities, so it's very loud up there. The dog on the right, however, is mindful. They are focused purely on the moment in front of them and the scenery surrounding them. This is the most basic interpretation of mindfulness, and it should help you to grasp what it means to be mindful. So I believe that we commonly associate mindfulness with activities like yoga, and that's great because yoga is a really awesome activity that you can definitely use to improve your mental, emotional, and physical health. However, we should note that we can be mindful at any time during any activity. So when you're at school, in class, when you're at work, selling bagels, or when you're even reading for pleasure at home, it's not just when we're focusing on an activity like yoga. So take a look at these 3 pictures that I have. They correspond with some examples of daily mindfulness. So paused is taking a moment during the day to briefly stop what you're doing and just acknowledge what's happening around you and in your body. So you can see the person in the picture is sitting on the dock. They're looking out at the lake and the sunset in front of them, and they're just really taking that in. They're taking in the beauty. Maybe they're taking in how they feel. They're listening to the wind in the trees. Movement, so as you're moving, this can be walking, stretching, dancing, acknowledge what's happening in your body. So take note of your heartbeat, take note of your breath pattern, and pay attention to how your body is taking you from place to place. And then combined activities, so let's put this in the context of sports. Focus on what's happening now in the present, not what's happened so far in the game, not how you're doing, not the fact that you think you're not playing very well and not what you're worried about happening in the future. Just focus on what you're doing right now so that you can make positive decisions for your activity with a clear mind. So, for the purposes of examining this topic through the lens of our class, Personal Fitness and Wellness, we are going to talk about mindfulness in exercise. So, according to an article from Armstrong, there are at least 8 ways for us to combine mindfulness with exercise in order to truly feel the benefits of both experiences. So, for us today, I'm going to put these methods under the lens of at-home indoor exercise because that's what a lot of us are faced with right now. So let's take a look. This person is exercising on an elliptical machine. This is something that I've tried out in my house, but we can also look at it as somebody is just going through a ballet bar warm-up at home. So the first method is finding your focus. So ideally, before you begin working out, you should pay attention to why you've decided to work out, what you hope to achieve, and how you're feeling here in this resting state. Next, be aware of your posture. So how are you standing? How does that make you feel? What's your body telling you inside? And just focus again on the present. Next, breathe deeply and rhythmically, and you should be feeling these breaths from your diaphragm. So again, pay attention to what's going on inside your body. And remind yourself why you're exercising. So as we talked about in class, sometimes it's hard to keep up that motivation if we don't necessarily want to be doing this activity, but it's important to be mindful and say, I'm doing this because it's healthy for me, it's good for me, and I'm going to feel good afterwards. Next, see your surroundings. So if you have the privilege of getting to go outside and walk around, really pay attention to the trees, the color of the sky, maybe how the wind is blowing through the trees. Just take note of that because you can be mindful and appreciate the beauty in your scenery. Also, listen to your surroundings. So maybe it's early morning and you can hear the birds chirping, and that's a really beautiful sound in my opinion. Next, appreciate your abilities. So even if you're not feeling like you're doing amazing, like if you are running on the elliptical and you're really tired, that's okay. Just appreciate that you made the decision to get this far, and that should make you feel really good about yourself. And the last method, according to Armstrong, is to just keep practicing. You want to keep going and remind yourself again that you are doing something for you, for your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health. This is for you and your mind. The goal of all of these activities is ultimately to be aware of what's happening within yourself, your body, and your mind in tandem here in the present. So now I know you're probably wondering, well, Cleo, what else can I do in addition to exercise? And I'm so glad you asked. So these are some other methods that I have found to be really helpful with regard to improving my mindfulness. So there is a really fun app called Headspace. It's free to download, and they provide you with guided meditations throughout the day. They also just released a season of guided meditations on Netflix, which is incredible. And each one is about 24 minutes long, so maybe swap out an episode of your TV show for one night and just try one of these meditations because they're really special and they are designed to work situationally, so you can use them whenever you need them. Next is a coloring book. These actually come with guided meditations, and they're all through the medium of art, which is really valuable for visual and bodily kinesthetic learners, because if you're reading these guided meditations and you're coloring with them in mind, you are connecting your brain and your mind to the physical activity of coloring. And then finally, podcast meditations, which are really nice for auditory learners. And I actually like them a lot because I can close my eyes and listen to the meditations while I try and calm down before going to sleep. And these are just some alternative activities that you can try. They're all free, except for the coloring books, but you can also look some free coloring pages up online, and you can be pretty surprised at what you find. And that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to my presentation. I really hope that you are able to use this information to move forward and find a little more peace in your life. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.